don't even know what to say. I just like this music right here. Ah, let me. Hey everyone, this is your servant, Pastor Paul. Let me see if I can do it while it's playing. Hey everyone, this is your servant, Pastor Paul Graham. Oh, this is nice. I like this. Let me see if I can just throw something else up here real quick before we. Let's go back to feeding the ducks. Well, everyone, this is your servant, Pastor Paul Graham. I am just excited about today. I just cannot wait to talk to some of our co-hosts about some of the crazy stuff I've been getting all of last week up until this week concerning dating and getting married and not just being married, but really yoked with someone, whether it's unequally yoked or whether it's compatibility or whatever it is. We just know that there's so many people out there that think that they're equally yoked or don't know nothing about it at all. Well, it is my pleasure to come to you tonight and to talk to you a little bit about, or hear from you and hear from our co-hosts of what this thing is like to be equally yoked. And I'm not just talking religion. I'm looking at Quest. Hey Quest, what's up, boy?
Yo.
How you doing, brother?
Man, shoot. It's been a week, man.
It's been a week, huh?
It's been a week for a number of reasons, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Daddy got me on this preaching, and could you imagine? And so I did not know that I was going to preach a series. I preached last week, and I'm preaching again this week.
Yeah. I tried to get on your schedule, but your schedule is popping like like Amina and Leah's schedules. You know,
I don't.
Pete, what's going on?
Pete, let me just say this to you, man. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be doing what I'm doing as far as that's concerned right now.
Okay.
Now, I don't consider it, you know what I'm saying, anything. But pastor's got me on a schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like, I preached last Sabbath and under the topic, get your shift together.
Get your what? What is that?
Get your shift together.
Oh. Well, hold on. Let me just bring up Mina for a second because she handled the pulpit herself the other day and I'll be coming up with some wild stuff.
It's funny you said that because I had to say it a second time. I preached from the chapter with the 5 wise, 5 foolish, right?
Okay.
And unbeknownst to me, man, like it was like 25 or 30 people came up all together, but 6 or 7 of them, 2 young people in particular, gave their lives to Christ, right? They want baptism.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here and I'm operating in this place and space, P, but it's funny too, Mina, because you don't even know how much you're a part of what's going on in my head right now. And I'll just give you a brief breakdown because I heard what you said. We're gonna jump into that. I want to jump into that. Unequally yoked. I feel like the church is unequally yoked right now.
Ooh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes. But that's not the topic for tonight.
it might be. It just might be.
And
it might get there.
I'll tell you why. My pastor and I, we moved good. We had a conversation tonight, and when the people came down for appeal, there was a Latino man who was there because I was just on some not end time sermon, but I was on some end time sermon.
You was on some different shift.
Yeah, I was like, I promise you, he came down, and when the appeal was made, and my man came down, right. He thought, or he was under the impression that we were going to baptize him right there on the spot. He was visiting for a family reunion from Clarksdale, Tennessee, and we were not prepared to baptize him on the spot.
Oh.
And so...
You ain't get the bath water?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I sat there for a moment, and I was just like, why were we not? And then I had some conversations with some people, the upper, of the church. We just don't And I'm like, well, what was cannot now be because it was for the seasons of that time. You're in a different season now that requires a whole bunch of new stuff,
Mhm.
right? So when I saw you post the other day, Mina, the thing that you posted with General Conference, like it was just too coincidental for me because the whole thing was happening there while what I was doing here was happening here.
Mm.
And I asked myself some questions this week, like why wasn't the baptismal pool filled?
Who
Why is it
ready?
not
Why wasn't
filled
it ready?
every week? Because what
Yesterday.
God said to me is that when I get ready to bring folk fruit through the door, what you going to tell them? You're going to set a date and say we're going to do it in 2 weeks. You don't know what's going to happen once they leave this building.
Yo, sea water. That's what
Yeah.
that's that. Do you remember
But
the Ethiopian eunuch?
yeah,
Sea water.
yeah, that's it. Yep. And what we gotta wait for? They go water right here. My man did it in what's the name? What we waiting on? You want to be baptized? I can baptize you right here. And
What you
so
end up doing, Quest? Like, what did y'all end up doing?
they ended up getting this information, and I think what happened was he ended up was going to work with somebody at his church in Tennessee because they're under construction. And that's the reason why they don't have a baptismal pool right now. But he said he's going to work with his pastor. He told me, he's like, I haven't heard a sermon like that in a long time.
Wow, wow.
And so, first of all, to God be the glory. Like I told you, Pete, I mean, I always like, all right, God, I'll be in church. I'm gonna do what you want me to do. Because first of all, I ain't trying to be lost. That's number one. But I never thought that it would be of this magnitude, or even experience anything close to something of this magnitude with me at the, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
And so back again this Sabbath,
Again.
again.
Oh,
So
okay.
I didn't know I was preaching a series. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm saying that to say that there's this idea, and I'm starting to see the difference between who runs the church and the lay people. I'm
Mm.
starting to see the difference between we are the ones that are like, scratch all of that structure that y'all doing right now because it doesn't allow the ministry to move forward.
Gotcha.
And then you have those who are like, no, we don't do things that way. This is the way that we do things. It almost feels like the difference between Christ versus the Pharisees and Sadducees and the Sanhedrin Council. That's what it feels like. It feels
Mm,
like
mm.
Jesus is the
It's a
layman.
hey, it's a bad marriage.
It is. Okay. This is the reason why I'm saying to you that I feel like the church is unequally yoked right now. And I'm not saying that from a condemning place. I'm just telling you what I see.
I
Right?
got you.
They can come and give me every excuse you want to in terms of lip service, but I'm watching it happen. Like I'm watching the difference happen. And every time we do things to move, we don't do it that way. Okay, what you're
I
going to
got
find up doing is people separating themselves from, okay, yeah, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to
you.
put nothing
Hey,
on.
hey, I mean, I hear you. You know, you're listening to when Nina was speaking the other day. I don't remember what church it was that she was speaking at.
West Philadelphia.
West Philadelphia. You
Born
know,
and raised.
let me tell you something. I think we need to recognize right before we jump in. Right, I think we need to recognize that the layman is going to finish the work. I think for a great deal of what we deal with right now, what we're dealing with right now, is that a lot of us as pastors we put down rules and regulations, or we move into churches that already have them, and there's no room for the spirit to work.
Can I
So
be honest about what you're saying though?
yeah,
It makes my heart extremely heavy.
but remember what you just said. The fact of the matter is the church unequally yoked to Christ?
I mean, and I think that there's a wrestling with the pastors of they can go but so far before someone at the hill calls them and says, "What was that about?" At the
Yeah,
end of the day, they're getting a paycheck from the people up on the hill. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
have seen
Down
pastors
the hill. It's really down the hill. It's down the hill.
down the hill,
Okay, good, good,
some in the mountains, you know.
good.
Um, and I've seen pastors be free as they can be, but there is a sort of like this box that they're still within.
Mm,
Because if they say the next sentence that comes after that, that may cost them their job.
gotcha, gotcha. Well, hey, listen. That's why it's so beautiful to have people like yourself, Leah, to have people like you, um, Amina, also yourself, Quest, to be in the pulpit. You know, I can imagine. I'm saying I can imagine even Sade just being in the pulpit and being able to talk about certain things that we can't talk about because the Hill can't say nothing to a layperson
Mm-mm.
at all, at all. Well, listen, tonight we are talking a little bit about.
You're muted, Leah. Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. I gotta interject just for a
Go ahead, Red Lips, please.
listen to me. Sade left me hanging. Mina, y'all left me hanging tonight. Come on, we supposed to be unified with this.
But
anyway,
here, I got you.
you should be right back. Be right back.
Oh, just about to be right back.
Let's go. All right, I'm unified. Let's go.
All right.
Oh snap!
And
Oh,
Sade went to
snap.
get the red lips, and then
That
together.
love. Then we got the glasses.
They're
the
trying to get
love, like-
They trying to get Voltron.
Come
They're
on,
trying to
man.
form
What y'all doing to
Voltron.
me, man? What y'all doing to me?
They trying to form Voltron.
But no, for real though, this has like been heavy on my heart, Quest, like for years.
Yeah.
Like it ain't for real.
Well, I want to get down with y'all, man.
Look. Anyway, for years, right?
Yeah.
In regards to when we know to do good, this is biblical. When we know to do good and do it not.
Yes.
All right, now
The
The
outcome of
the
that
winner in
thing.
the house.
Sade, I need you to take your foot off the gas.
Go ahead, Sade. Look.
Slow down. You bring your speed limit down to 10 miles within the speed limit, please.
Well, silly. But the real is our pastors, and I appreciate, Mina, what you're saying, and I do have empathy on that, right? I really do. When you have to take care of your family system, get it. But at what point will we get to a place where we trust God more than a paycheck?
It's funny you were saying it, Lee, because I was thinking the same thing.
I can't listen to someone that tells me that I need to obey, right, more than sacrifice. But the flip of that is I'm willing to sacrifice souls and bring them into a sinking ship.
You know, it's so
I have a
crazy.
problem with it.
That's what got Nicodemus in the situation that he was in with the Pharisees, because he knew what it was. He was just still holding on to what they might think of him.
If you guys get a chance, I want you to look at what I posted this week. And my question this week was, it was just to my Adventist community. I'm like, in all due respect, out of love, we complain about our denomination, but we stay. So I just wanted to know, why do people stay? And so I could substitute, or I could add the word in, we are so unequally yoked. Why do we stay in a relationship that continues to cause
Here we go.
Fill in the blank, right?
Here we go.
I need some water.
I want you guys to
I need
just
some
read
water.
the comments, because they were like on a wide spectrum. They were not all in one way. They were some here, some there, some in the middle. Some played it safe in their answers, but there was a lot of vulnerability, you know, that came with that. And so, yeah, you know, I think you talking about unequally yoked, not just in the religion. GC's happening this week. You know, there's a lot of that going on there. And so I'm all for it. I just gotta buckle my seatbelt real tight, because we're in for it tonight.
Oh, yes.
I think if we look at it, like a domestic violence relationship, you can kind of understand it. Okay. So, you know, my dissertation was on understanding the stay-leave phenomenon in intimate partner violence. And so down the number one reason, and this is it, you know, true for church people, fear is the number one reason why we stay.
Exactly.
Fear. What's going to happen if we leave? What's going to happen if we, you know, because we've been taught for years, that's blasphemy. If you leave from under the protection of the Lord, all of these things are going to happen to you. So that's the number one fear. Number one is fear. That's basically it. We stay.
You know why that is though, Terry?
Why is that?
We had a meeting recently, And what I've realized in this new age of AI and social media and all of this other stuff, you are depending on social media and AI for your spiritual food instead of reading your Bible for yourself. If you ask the average Christian basic things about church, and they can't tell you, they can't give you biblical backing for why they believe what they believe. It's we've become, as they say, the church age, where they're being spoon fed either through whatever platform they prefer. They're used to hearing itching ear sermons. They're used to, and it's funny because I gave them the disclaimer before. I was like, this ain't what one of those, this ain't gonna be that this Sabbath. And I think that there are a number of people yearning for more, but you don't have to yearn more from people when you can get up in the morning and sit in the whatever part of your home you're in and read your Bible for yourself. And there won't be any questions. We used to say when we were little, read your Bible, pray every day, and you grow, grow, grow. But the opposite is true also. Don't read your Bible, forget to pray. The song tells you, and you shrink, shrink, shrink. So no wonder you can't. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody is really searching the scriptures for themselves.
Yeah, what do we say about short people on that joint, though? You know what I mean? Yeah. See?
What I can say is, and I think one reason why I'm in a place of just like frustration with the church is when we see everything that's happening in our nation by itself, right? Let's not even look at the world church. Just in our nation by itself, the complexity of certain people is annoying to me because I work in education. I literally was on a call where we were doing a strategic plan for what to do when ICE comes on the campus. How do we respond to ICE on a campus, right? And I have teachers, principals, counselors, boo-hoo crying, saying, I'm thinking about leaving education because this is where we've come to. And it's like, if people in other fields feel this way and they're willing to say, I can't do it anymore, I can't be part of the problem. But in church, it's like, well, we're just going to keep this whole mindset of we're going to change it from the inside. Or I'm staying because this is what God has called me to. It's like, but at one point, does your heart hurt? Not only for yourself, but for other people who we are constantly bringing into the foolishness while we're trying to change it.
That's where I am right now.
That's what I said. I'm not trying to. Well, yes, I am. Yes, there's pure foolishness, and I go back. All 5 of you were witnesses when we were in Baltimore, and I learned so much about how this church works. And I was literally sitting there like, "What am I?"
That's confidential.
Here's the thing. But I had to ask myself, what am I a part of? Like, if I don't agree with something, I have the right to leave. And I just and I think this week's because Mina posted the question and I gave my answer. It's very confusing, but I'd rather have peace of mind than to continue to check a box just saying I went to church.
That's it.
You know, it's funny as I'm listening, right? Because I already know what we're talking about tonight, right? Because this is just a preamble of where we're getting into. It's funny that everything that you all are talking about can be related to relationships. 100%. I mean, you just said it just now, Sade. You talked about checking the boxes. You can check all the boxes that you're thinking of and still not be equally, and it's to be unequal with the church, right? Okay, I go here, I do this, I do that, but the fear of being not accepted in that relationship of the church, the fear of not having, not following suit of what my mother used to do, the fear of this. And I love what you said, Terry, that it's the fear. How many times have we been in wrong relationships, wrong church, wrong relationships, but we won't come out of it? How many times have we been in unequally yoked relationships, but we won't come out of it because of fear? Okay. So I'm going to pose this. I'm going to start with this text, right? Even though, remember we said, right, we're not talking about, this is not necessarily about religion, right? But we've got to come to a point where what does equally yoked look like? What does it look like? And one of the reasons why I wanted to go into that is because one of the things that I've realized, am I unequally yoked with the church? Am I unequally yoked with my community? Am I unequally yoked with my marriage? But I
Okay.
want to start. But I want to start off with this word unequally yoked. I want to go into relationships, what that looks like, and I really want to hear. And I'm really sorry. I'm lighting a little fire under your behind, and also under Terry's a little bit too. Seeing that you are the
Resident single people. Go ahead.
There we go. Good. There we go. There we go. The resident single people. So we have a special guest. We have special guests with us tonight. As we dig a little deeper into this, I love this is my sister Glow. Love her so much as we transition, but we can go in and out with this. She said, I'm an old and been Baptist, Catholic, agnostic, and finally SDA. Wow, I don't know why she reminds me of Leah. This is the closest to scripture, though.
It must be great. No.
Toot your horn, sis.
Love you, Glow. Love you, Glow.
He says, she said, oh, wow. I'm just reading it. I was on my way out until I ran into COH. But I could easily break off to a reformed SDA. And I'm wondering sometimes, is Paul Graham afraid? Is Paul afraid?
Paul, you've been speaking, and I've been wanting to remind you, and I'm not going to go deep into it. But if you remember when we were in Baltimore, the conversation that we had that Saturday night at where we were at Hugh's house?
Yeah.
Yep. Remember that conversation we had that night?
I think he remembers.
I'm not going deep into it because I hear you, Terry. I hear you. I'm not gonna go deep into it. Yeah, I see what he's doing.
You can't get rid of me because you know I was on your head and I'm
Look at Terry said, I got to come back.
Listen.
Why was I the first to be let go, though? That's what I want to know.
Saying,
you was doing like this with your hands.
But Pete, I'm just saying that
I'm not going at an undisclosed location, Q.
I'm not going to go. We were at my bad. I just wanted to big up the homie. I just wanted to big up the homie for hosting us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and that's the homie for real. So I'm not going to go into the details of the conversation, but what you're going to find in the near future, I've seen a couple of them already do it. It's not no secret, so I can say a couple of names. Freddie Russell is now doing his own thing. Myron Edmonds is doing. E.T. been doing his own thing. APOC is killing the game up in Lansing. There are a couple of others who are on their way.
Pierre Quinn.
Oh, I'm just telling you.
Right. And I'm wondering, and I may be, I'm not trying to put anybody out there, but I really am wondering, because I saw her post, if Kimberly Bolton may be kind of like
she did.
spreading her wings too. And I'm like, yes.
She's on her own also. She's on her own also.
And here's the thing, my personal belief is that none of those people necessarily wanted to do that. But what they did was they had reached their red line in terms of what they were facing as a pastor doing ministry within this context.
Within that context.
Yep.
I got you.
But the Lord will push you out when he sees that you are stalling.
Yep.
Yeah, you said that twist mouth just now.
Yeah.
I think the answers are already there, which is why you just brought up this conversation again. Okay. But the Lord will push you. No, it's just like any other job. When it's your time to go, he gonna say, look, I know my child already. They don't normally get up and make the moves on it. I'm a push they butt up out that door.
I got you.
The other thing that I think we have to talk about is in relationship, in church, wherever. When we pray and say, Lord, if this is not for me, remove me, we have to also say, prepare me so that I'm ready to go, right? Because we'll ask the Lord to remove us from a situation, remove us from all of these things, and then he opens the door for us to leave and we stay.
Gotcha.
Because again, that fear paralyzes us. And sometimes, like Leah said, God will make it to where you ain't got to make the decision. I'll get them to cut you out myself.
Yeah, I got stories about that.
I think
I got stories about that.
Oh, Paul, you're fro. I think it's to a term we use in psychology called learned helplessness. Okay. Now, what is learned helplessness? If we go back to the example I gave about, domestic violence, it's fear. There was a study done years ago by Dr. Joseph Seligman. Okay.
Is that it right there? Learned helplessness?
Learned
Yeah.
helplessness. Okay.
Gotcha.
There was a study done by Dr. Joseph Seligman, not to be confused with Pavlov. Okay. These are two different people. And so what Seligman did was he put dogs in a cage, and what he did was put an electrified floor in. And what he was trying to do was condition them to a bell. Okay. And so what he did was every time he rung the bell, he paired it with electrocuting the floor. So every time, okay, he rang that bell, the dogs got nervous. You see what I'm saying? They got nervous, and so they started running around in the crate or whatever. And then to the point that they would stand in their own excrement to try to lessen the severity of the shock. Okay? We're kind of standing in our own excrement, trying to lessen the severity, trying to find a comfortable place in the church to where we can be safe. Learned
Come on,
helplessness.
Steve, you better preach this, man. You preach.
Okay? Learned helplessness. That was a term like Lenora Walker came up when she wrote the battered woman or whatever her story is. I can't remember what it was. And so what they did was they taught the dogs how to leave. They opened the door. They opened the door. And what happened? A lot of the dogs left and came back. And some of them stayed even though the door was open.
Okay, so
the door was open. They stayed. Hold on, let me make this last point.
Go ahead.
So they changed the term from learned helplessness to learned optimism because psychology was going through a very negative time. So there's learned helplessness. It's just like you trying to here. This is how it works. You're trying to teach your son how to tie his shoes, okay? And you keep tying them for him and tying them for him. Every time you see him, they're loose or whatever. So he just does what? He learns to be helpless because you're going to tie him. He knows you're going to tie him every time. So you're teaching him to be helpless, okay? And so you have a thing that's called strategic helplessness, which does what? It decreases our sense of mastery. It decreases our sense of mastery because we are strategic. And when we play like, oh, we need help and that's strategic helplessness.
Again, Terry, before you go ahead, Armina, before you go ahead, because I want to shift. I really want to shift. And one of the reasons I want to shift is, Terry, what you just said, right? How does that relate? I'm hearing you talking about concerning church. How does that relate to so many people that stay in their own shift?
I just said it. We learn to be helpless. We are taught to be and rely upon for everything. It teaches us how to be. And so when you pull it away, well, I don't know what we're supposed to do. What we gonna
I'll tell you how I think about it in relation to the two. There's nothing worse than spending years of your life in a faith that you may not necessarily, you come to some enlightened moment, if you will, like, yo, everything that I've been taught feels fugazi, right? And there's nothing like, man, I got to go start this whole journey all over again, you mean? And although you don't necessarily have to start the journey over per se, it feels that way. Just imagine the person who's been in a toxic relationship for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And if you got an issue with being lonely versus being in a toxic relationship with somebody, the chances are great. You like, man, if I leave, I got to do this all over again. And between the two, I think that's from a practical standpoint, because what Terry's saying is deep. You know what I'm saying? But from a practical standpoint, like for real, I got to do this all over again.
Yeah.
Now, there's some glimmer of hope that this could get better, even though it ain't.
Let's pause, Sade. Mina and then Sade, go ahead. You're silent. You're silent, sister. Speak.
Okay, the dog was barking, so I had to mute. So I wanted to break this down in terms of how the brain is wired, because we're using word condition, conditioning, and we need to understand that, because if we understand that, then we understand what's happening when Terry talks about what he's speaking of. So when people are conditioned, the brain literally is being shaped, and it's being shaped by these repeated experiences, especially the emotionally intense ones. The brain then learns to expect certain outcomes and to react automatically to avoid pain, to gain approval, even when those responses are no longer true or helpful.
Mm-mm.
Now, if you notice, I didn't say nothing about the church, right? We're just talking about conditioning and what happens to the brain during this process. And so that can apply to all these different ways. And so, in this perspective, the brain starts to build these neural pathways that says, that's how the world works.
Yeah.
When you whoa, Sade, hold on. What do you mean that's how the world works? Are you trying to tell me that that's just how it is, so I'm going to stay?
That's how the neurological pathways formed in your brain work.
Right, because it's consistently wiring and rewiring itself. And when experiences are repeated, especially with those strong emotions, that's where we start to build those brain neural pathways.
So
And
basically,
it's
repetition deepens the impression.
That's
Yeah.
it.
That's
And
it.
then coupled with the fact that you ain't studying and reading your Bible for yourself, which would be the battle against that. That's the thing that you grab hold to.
And what that is called, they used to think that the brain stopped growing. Then when they realized that it did, they were like, wow. So it's called neuroplasticity. Your brain is constantly growing, all the time.
And it doesn't grow this way. The brain grows this way.
Okay, Sade, go ahead. Talk to us.
I think let's talk about it in a form of people who may not be Adventists, right? In a relationship, right?
Yes, here we go. I'm trying to pull it back. I'm trying to pull it out of I'm trying to get out of the church.
You five have been part of my journey this year, right?
Right.
And one thing I can say, I could not have left that situation and been okay by myself. There's one person in particular who talked to me every day and said, I know exactly what you're going through. This is what you're going to experience next. This is what's going to happen next. You're going to want to go back. You're going to, every day. I could call this person at 2:00 in the morning, boo-hoo crying, trying to figure it out. One thing we have to really be mindful of is it's very hard to leave. I don't care how toxic the situation is. Everybody ain't got them. I told somebody, I said, I'm not Leah. And I'm talking about this Leah right here. Leah be like, I'm out. I'll be like, I'm trying to think through it. I'm trying to process it. Like, how does this look to my family? How does this look to my friends? I'm a failure, right?
Mm.
And it's not until somebody else who has failed comes beside you and said, baby, you just made a stumbling. Like, it gets better. But if you stay in it, it will only get worse. So I think we have to be open to people hearing the vulnerable, the transparent, the hurt, and partnering with us, because you can. I don't care how good you of a person you think you are. When you leave something that has shattered you, like, you really sit there and you say, well, what else is there? Like, what's better than this? And you can't see it because of the brokenness. But when you have somebody who has been broken and who is now healed come alongside you and say, I know what your next step is. And if you just keep moving forward, you may not see it yourself, but it gets better. There's a reason why we have community. But one has to be open to receiving a community in order to move past whatever the situation is. And that's what I think is missing in relationships, in church, in whatever relationship even people leaving their jobs.
Whoa.
You have to have somebody who has said, yeah, I know what it's like to miss a car note.
Okay, I got you. I
think real quick, Pete, I want to say this because that's a word right there.
Okay.
I think if a lot more people came to the understanding that I don't know what's going to serve me, but I know that this is not serving me.
Yeah.
And moving in faith is the thing that gets you to the next place.
You know, I like what was said earlier before when he says, like, if I leave this situation, if I leave this unequally yoked situation, family, not family, relationship, church, job, whatever, I'm digging more into
Family too. Family.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. You know, my thing is, how do I start over? Right? How do I heal from that? And I think a lot of times, and I'm going to say this, right, especially as we're going to about to bring on our next guest. One of the things that really gets to me is that I have sat with second generation Adventists. I don't know about any other race or what have you, or persuasion of people than Black people, who have said, I've stayed in my situation because of the church. I've stayed in this because I've seen my parents stay together, so I'm not going to disappoint and do anything differently. Is it possible? And I put the question up there, right? But is it possible for people to become equal in an unequally yoked situation? Is it possible? And if the answer is yes,
is it possible for what?
I was about to say, what do you mean? Is it possible to become equal?
To re-yoke. If you re-yoke, because that's a term.
What?
Right? Yes, you can. The question you're asking is, can you become aligned again, or just aligned? Period.
That, or if you can remain inauthentic to a situation because you're trying to remain in the relationship for the purposes of the church.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to get. Like flush this out, because it can be interpreted in a lot of ways. Yep. What are you thinking?
Let's go. I mean, how am I fleshing it out?
Because when you originated from somewhere, it's derived out of something. So what are you meaning when you say equal? Can one become equal in inequality? What are you saying?
Well, you just said something, Leah. I mean, come on, girl. You know what? Don't question me. Just talk.
I'm just asking the question. I'm trying to understand here because I get a little.
Listen, there's so many times, right? And I cannot wait to get this guest up. There's so many times we are in a place where you can work it out. God will work it out. Pray it through. So and so where you're unequally yoked, right? What are we waiting for? A miracle? Can that really happen? Can there be a miracle in the relationship? Or what are some of the issues that gets us into unequally yoked situations?
Trying to get the favor of other individuals who's not in the relationship. That'll get you in a big one.
Or even let's look at this. Black folks still ain't equally yoked in America. So like all of these systems and processes and all these things to believe, and this is the thought of a lot of people, if I just pray, if I just fast and pray. Listen, if God tells you, God's not going to continue to repeat himself.
Would you go back?
I remember.
Well, some people are unequally yoked with themselves. So, of course, they're going to be.
Right.
So, their decision making always going to be. Huh?
What are we doing? What's happening?
Wait,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
If your last situation came
listen
to you, listen to me.
Let me tell you something. Listen, I would personally be on the next plane with a belt in my hand and whoop Sade aspirin myself.
If your last situation came to you and said, "Hey, I'm a new person. I'm a new so and so. I want to try this."
I'll whoop her aspirin myself.
Oh.
Let me tell you what. First of all, I don't know how he would contact me, but my response would be, my prayers are answered, that God changed your heart. Bless you and keep it pushing.
Understood. Okay, understood.
The devil is quite crafty.
Let's go to one of your toxic.
I have a question. I have a question. Can we? You're talking about what was the term you used? I mean, a re-yoked or what is it?
Re-yoked.
Could that be like, I don't know, rebaptized?
Let me say this.
I'm just asking.
I don't know if it can be the same thing because
I like that. Wait, hold on.
Don't move too quick. Don't move too quick.
I was about to say I like that because I'm gonna tell you what, and I don't mean no, but T, that was good.
It was good
because how many times when situations have occurred in your life, right? And let's say you have strayed or faltered or whatever, that there's always this coercion back to having to be rebaptized to be in good graces with.
Okay.
I have been, Sade, the type of person that says I will never get rebaptized. Ever. No, y'all don't understand me.
Then if we believe in rebaptism, if we believe in that, then we believe in re-yoking.
Who believes in rebaptism? I do not.
No. Hold on.
I believe that rebaptism is a personal choice. Like, Lord, this is something just between me and you that says I'm rededicating myself to you.
Yeah,
everybody don't. It's not. It's. I don't believe it's a like the standard of the church, or it should be the standard of the church.
Right.
If you feel right, Leah said, I don't believe in that. Once I baptize, Lord, I may fall, but that's why you died on the cross.
That's what communion is for.
Right, exactly. The next person might feel, yo, I done did some ish.
Okay,
right.
Okay. Mina,
I need to go under the water.
right. Mina, go ahead.
When you're talking about
drown me,
there are 3 requirements in reyoking. The first one is repentance, which is change in direction.
Wait, in your relationship?
See, I'm not putting a thing to it.
I want to put a thing to it.
I mean, this could apply to
what you got personal going on while you want to put a thing to it.
Right. Listen, this is my therapy session.
Hey, last week.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Let me finish giving you my thought.
Last week, you wanted to put a label on it. Remember, you needed to know.
Go ahead,
That's
Mina.
what you said last
I don't want to
week.
talk to Terry
Yes,
right now.
but today the topic is unequally yoked, not just religion.
Go ahead.
So that leaves it open to religion or relationships. We're talking about all R's tonight, okay?
It's a blanket. It's a blanket. It's a blanket.
So reyoking requires 3 things that all start with an R. Repentance, which is changing your direction, recommitment, choosing to grow together, and rebuilding trust and shared values. So I don't see nothing there about rebaptism, but if me and God, if I feel like I need to align myself with God because I'm misaligned, I'm going to repent.
Okay.
I'm going to recommit to Him, and I'm going to work super hard to rebuild my trust and grow in Him.
So put that in the mindset of a relationship right now. Sade, be quiet. Be quiet, Sade.
I almost flicked y'all off.
So if you're thinking about being equally yoked, it's possible, but both parties have to be willing. I forgot who started to say that.
Okay, good. No, okay, good. I want to welcome. Okay, I like that, Mina. I want to welcome Oliver and Denise to the set today. I'm gonna put them right here. Here we go. I don't know if you all are able to see their faces while we were talking, but their faces were just terrible back there. I don't know what it was.
So I'll tell you what I was thinking.
Okay, wait.
Look, Ali coming straight out.
I'll let you know.
So here's my take, and I don't want to necessarily derail because I know you're trying to shift gears in the relationship.
Do whatever.
But let me just say this: part of the problem with I'm not just gonna say Adventism. I'm just gonna say organized religion in general. The problem is that many of us have been taught that there's greater importance to allegiance to a system as opposed to alignment with the Savior.
Hey, come on now. Preach that.
And because we have not taught people how to shift from that mindset of allegiance to a system.
Look at that word again, shift.
Organized religion will never migrate to what God intended. It will never.
Your trigger finger's heavy there, brother.
It's never. I'm telling, and I'm not.
Terry's giving some money. Terry got an offering. Terry got an offering.
Hear me. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that out of pessimism.
No.
I'm not saying that to be negative.
No, that's facts.
We just got to call it what it is. Organized religion is created to serve a purpose. That purpose is never in alignment with what God designed. And so if it's never in alignment with what God designed, how can it complete the task that God outlined? It's impossible. It's impossible. So when you have people,
why do we join these organized communities?
Because we
Conditioning.
well, part of it is conditioning, but part of it is God has put in us an innate desire to be in community. The problem is that communities are not created with the right focus in mind. That doesn't take away our desire.
Yeah.
So now we end up just for the sake of being in community, we will take anything that looks even remotely close to that.
Mercy.
And then figure out how to deal with the inadequacies later.
Which is the
like a
same
relationship
thing that people do in
Like a relationship.
right intimate partner relationships. They
So
are
listen,
like,
you guys talk about
we're social. We are social people. Okay.
Yes.
Remember the movie? Remember the movie with Tom Hanks when he was on a plane and it crashed and he was out on his island by himself.
Yeah.
Not Lost.
no
I can't remember what the name of it was, but he was out there by himself and he created, what was it? The volleyball.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? We're a social people. We have to have that contact.
It's important.
If we don't, a study was done years ago. Okay, and what happens is, and Amina and Leah, you guys probably know the term marasmus. Okay, what happens when we don't? That's a failure.
Castaway. That's the name of the joint.
Castaway.
It was bothering me. It was bothering
me too.
See, I was thinking the same thing. It's marasmus, you'll die.
Yeah, marasmus is a failure to thrive.
Wilson is the name of the volleyball.
Yeah, when we are not aligned and connected to people, we kind of die a little. Yeah. That marasmus sets in, that failure to thrive. I think where we are now, okay, let's face it, most of us on here are the faith and religion we are because of what? Our parents.
Our parents.
Okay, our parents.
Yeah.
And so when we, to go something off of what Quest was saying, as we got older, we started studying to show ourselves approved. Mm-hmm. And then we start like, this ain't what they thought it was. This was, and all that was done was spouted from other people, and we listened to it. And we listened to that and we lived it. And I think we've gotten to the point now, and I'll be honest, I'm one of them. I never thought I would be this age and the Lord had not come yet. I never thought I would be this age because back in the day they preached fire and brimstone. Okay. And so you got to believe in that and you were scared to do anything and you were scared to go here and scared to go to do it. And what you're realizing is this thing is controlling, to go back to something what Oliver was saying. It was designed to control the masses. And so I think what we have gotten right now is weary and well-doing. That's what we have gotten. We're tired. We expected this to all be over by now. And here it is. It's not over yet.
I don't know if, can I add something?
Sure.
I don't know if for, me, it's about fatigue. Mine is more about disappointment.
Wow.
Right?
And fatigue.
Look, not necessarily fatigue because I've identified ministry outside of, because ministry matters to me, but it's more so about disappointment. And it's disappointment in the sense that something can be given to you and you would, better look at it as if it's something else, as what's being put on the plate in front of you. Yeah. You would rather believe something, you would rather believe a lie.
Okay.
Right? So that you could remain within. Right? Mm-hmm. And that for me is problematic. And it goes back to what I see in the church or in intimate partner relationships, whatever it may be. It goes back to an individual's core belief of themselves. Most times it's a negative core belief of yourself that will keep you stagnant and stuck in the minutia.
I got you.
Right?
Yeah, that's why I say the development is so important as an individual, because when you're not developed, you'll sway whichever way the wind blows.
Any which way.
But when you're rooted and firm,
in relationships that you should not be in because you see yourself through this negative lens. And so individuals have to unpack what is this core belief? Like I always ask my clients, finish this sentence. I am what? At the core. I am what?
Can I say something? I think I don't know if I'm the only one, but I chose Adventism, right? And I think what's hurtful is when you leave something that you've known forever, right? To your point, Paul, you leave something and you choose something thinking this is going to be better than what I left.
Ooh.
And when you get, I'm 21 years in, and you're sitting here and you're like, this is actually in my mind worse than what I was in before.
But you know what, Sade?
But it comes with understanding that control mechanism that's in place when you become agitated and frustrated, because again, I chose this. My whole family's not. I'm out here on an island by myself, and I feel betrayed by what I chose. Now, that can also go to a relationship. I chose to be with this person, right? And I chose to see the better in you, although everyone else was telling me it was wrong.
Wow.
Let's look at
this. I still tried, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't serve me.
Got it. Question. Go ahead, right? Wait. Go ahead. Question.
I just want to say, can we look at this, Sade, to your point? Can we look at this through the same lens of relationship intelligence, right?
Yeah.
When you are making friends, right? What did we learn? We learned that we use the word friend too loosely, because you're either a friend, you're an advisor, an associate, or an assignment. And sometimes why we get frustrated is because we put a friend title on somebody that was really an associate, and we put the expectations of friends on them. Then when they didn't fulfill the expectations, we got frustrated and we were mad at them, when really it wasn't their fault. We just didn't properly place them in their category. Could it possibly be with the church that we put the church in a particular category that it should have never been in, and we put expectations on the church to fulfill certain things, and when they didn't, we were frustrated, and we're frustrated now? And I'm learning a little bit more that, yeah, you said it a while ago. I forgot how you phrased it, Ali. What is it with the church versus alignment with Christ? How did you frame that?
Allegiance to a system.
Okay, good. And that's it. I think in terms of our allegiance to this system, we put expectations on them more than we were in alignment with Christ. And when they did or didn't do what we expected, then we become frustrated and feeling out of place. And now I'm in that place and space right now where I'm making the shift, if you will, to a place where Christ, Jesus, I want to be more in alignment with you than I have this allegiance to the church.
Okay.
And I think we have to take a step, right? Because I forgot who said it, that said some people aren't even equally yoked with themselves. One of the hardest things to do when you leave anything, a relationship, if you leave a church, whatever, is sitting in a place where you have to confront the God in you.
Who?
And you have to sit and look at it and say, what was it about me that allowed me to believe that this was where or where I wanted to be? What is broken in me?
It's nothing broken in you. It's nothing broken in you. I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you what it is. And it's an indictment on somebody in the comments said, I'm confused. What is organized religion? So let me just clear that up. When I said organized religion, what I'm talking about is the governing bodies over our belief system. So the denominational system, those kinds of things. That's what I'm talking about when I say organized religion. It's not always that it's something broken in you. It's an indictment on how we present it to you. We present it to you as though it is your opportunity now to strengthen your relationship with God. We present it to you as though it is a way for you to now come into community where people will always love on you and always be there for you and always want to see the best from you. And then when you get in there, you realize that people don't like you because of how you look. And you realize that people don't like that you got on red lipstick. And you realize that people don't like that you was Baptist before, or whatever you were before. And then you wait a minute. That's not what y'all presented. You presented that this was going to be a haven of rest from all the foolishness that I went through.
Okay,
so can I add to it?
Go ahead.
Because if you started here, it will destroy your experience when you leave.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That's what I did. This is where I met Adventism.
What does that say on that shirt?
That is none of your business, Terry. Terry, it's not your business. It's not your business.
Let me go get my Andrews gear.
No, we're good. We're good. But I tell people all the time.
Let me go get my UNCC gear.
I tell people all the time.
Let me get my UNC gear.
My introduction to the church was Oakwood, and when I left, I was devastated because that experience at Oakwood was a natural high every Sabbath, all week. And I went to my local church and I said,
where at?
What is happening? Where are the young people?
You know, it's
wow,
crazy.
you know what that sounds like, Paul? It
What?
sounds like in the early honeymoon phases, actually, even probably before the honeymoon phase, right? It sounds like, you know, in the beginning, you're out dating and courting, and it's so cute and it's so sweet, and you're on that high, and then you say, I do.
And you stealing a little banana pudding every night.
Every now and then.
I like a bread pudding.
Paul, check this out. Paul,
I like a potato pudding.
So
in the beginning, it's all butterflies and lies. So
easy.
If we're going to circle it into relationships, right?
Yes.
We're going to circle it into relationships. And this applies to the church too, but if we're going to circle it into relationships, often when we talk about the subject, the topic of being unequally yoked, we focus on the people who are yoked. Sometimes it ain't about the people. The problem is the yoke.
Oh.
I like
and we don't always address that.
I like my chain right here.
Right there.
And that's cool. That's cool. Some people do. And it's cool. But we don't often address sometimes, right? Because if you think about a yoke, right? If you think about a yoke,
go ahead.
A yoke was designed to put two animals together for work. Right? So now if one animal is not as strong as the person they're yoked with, there's an issue.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that there's an issue with the person per se, right? Now think about it this way. Let's say two animals do have the same amount of strength, but one person's neck is bigger. One animal's neck is bigger than the other. They still won't fit in the yoke properly. So sometimes it's not about the individuals. Sometimes it's about the yoke. And sometimes we have to look at what is the thing that we are all, the two of us, what is the thing that we are attempting to align ourselves to? And do we both fit in that properly? Because if we don't, it's going to be a problem.
Listen,
no matter how strong she is, it doesn't matter how strong I am. If the thing we're trying to align ourselves to so that we can work together, it ain't right, then it ain't right.
Thank you so much, because we're not talking about egg yolk. Okay. We're talking about a yoke is a wooden harness, right? That joins two oxen together to plow a field.
Right.
So just imagine if one of those.
That in a relationship, thank you, honey. In a relationship, we are missing, we're misaligned. Is this what is happening when we are unequally yoked? Or I'm going to ask you this, and this is for Denise also. Are we picking people who are not aligned with us, but we're hoping that they'll align with us later on? Now, the reason why I'm saying that, Denise, what's your thoughts, Denise?
Yeah, I think that that happens a lot. You hear people say all the time, I know that he's this way, but he'll change.
Oh God.
I know that, he thinks this way, but I could change him.
Sweetheart, you sick.
Together, it'll be different. They'll change. Things will change. It'll be all right. Or I know that he's this way, but I'll change. I know that he's this way, but I'll adjust. I'll be able to deal with it. So yeah, sometimes it is that we pick the person up front and they're already.
So what about you? What about you in your picking, Denise?
Man, we're a classic example of that.
I'm trying to get Denise to talk. In a second, right? I'm trying to get Denise to talk.
I think that we ignore a lot of things.
Because this week was her leg week, in working out. Okay. So I want to, what? What? I can't follow you, Denise. I can't follow your.
I'm glad you're following me, Pete.
Okay, good, good, good.
I'm glad.
I
No.
want y'all to talk about how you're able to. I like what Mina said, right? How were you able to rebuild? How were you able to? What was it, Mina? Rebuild,
reyoke
with those three. Just share with us, please.
I don't think it was a re-yoke, because re-yoke means that you were, to me, means that you were at one point yoked, and then you had to say re-yoke means that you, I don't know, became uneven, and then you re-yoked again.
Okay.
For us, we had to just become yoked, period.
Ooh, mercy.
Because we weren't. For a long time, we weren't.
Wow.
And can I say something to the? I got to be careful how I say what I'm about to say, and I haven't thought it through, so it might come out wrong. But the person who said the problem is the yoke, and that's why we need Jesus's yoke.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now I agree with that. Let me add to that. I don't want to say but, because I don't want to negate that. Let me add to that. What we have to tell people in relationships, though, is that there are more components than just that.
Okay.
And now let me clarify. I am not saying that Jesus is not all and all. Is not our all in all. That's not what I'm saying. But if you take our experience, once we recognize, yes, there is some alignment that we have to have as it relates to our spiritual growth, there was some other things we had to do as well. We had to learn how to talk to each other. And we had to learn how to listen to each other. And we had to learn how to respect each other. And then we had to put some things in place that governed our spiritual intimacy. I'm not talking about Jesus now. I'm talking about what are our goals, the values, the vision for our marriage, the mission for our marriage. All of that became the yoke. Because when we got together, there was no yoke. It was like, let's see if we can keep up with each other and get the work done. It don't work like that.
My God.
That's like you saying, I'm gonna have these two oxen plow this field for you, but you don't put nothing on them, and one run left and one run right.
All over the place.
It ain't gonna never happen, right?
I think
so there is more to that, is all I'm saying,
Right.
and that was part of the yoking process for us.
I think
Terry, please.
I think too, Oliver, what you're talking about is there was a willingness to work things out. There's a willingness to work things out. Before, you guys were willful, and people confuse those two words. Willful doesn't mean I'm willing. Willful means I'm going against.
Yes.
You had to be willing to come together, because prior to that, you were willful. I ain't doing it. Well, I ain't putting my gun down. She got hers. So, and you sitting there, who's going to put it down first? Who's going to put it down first? And then you're not coming together. And then when you guys finally decide to put those weapons down, here we go. Now we're walking together. We're moving together. I always get like this. This is what's going on in the relationship. Okay. This is what's going on. And every now and then you guys are going to meet up. Well, we may, have some intimacy, and we're back at this. Then you guys start doing this. You see what I'm saying?
Cycles.
Or you guys start doing this. You're no longer doing this.
Yeah.
That's good.
Wait.
So check this out. If we add this,
This is what I said this week on Facebook. I said potential is hopeful and disappointing at the same time.
Jesus.
So find what you want because it is, not what you hope to get because it could be.
When did you post that?
Right.
You gotta follow me. You looking at everything else.
I'm looking at leg day. I'm looking at leg day.
You're looking at leg day. The red
Yeah, okay.
You ain't looking at the knowledge that's being dropped.
so check this out. If we want
I'm sorry, Ollie. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at
you it's all good, man.
Okay,
We're
good.
trying to get healthy over here, man. So let me add a spiritual component to it.
Okay.
Let me add a spiritual component.
And then
right?
Sade, I'd like to hear from you.
So if you think about the example of some of the animals being yoked, right? We got to take it even a step back, right? The animals don't yoke themselves.
Right.
The farmer has observed.
Ooh, let's go, preacher.
My God.
And
Let's go,
knows
preacher.
how to pair them up so that their
Right.
strength is adequate and somewhat aligned and equal.
Yes.
Looks at their body structure and knows that, okay, this one's neck is big, but even though this one is strong, the neck is small, so it might slip out the yoke.
Hey, Ali, so you saying don't match up with nobody unless the master farmer match you up with?
Our mistake was,
Yeah.
watch your mouth.
Our mistake was no farmer put us together.
My God.
Teach. Yep. And that's
we put ourselves together,
Man.
in what we thought might have been a yoke, but we had two very ideas of how that field was going to get plowed. So what we ended up doing in year 1 and 2 is actually choking each other.
Wow. Well, let's see into that. But I hear you.
So now, for those who have the beautiful privilege of being single,
You know, Denise won't even smile on that one. You know what I mean?
listen,
It's ruminating.
it's
Ruminating with me too. I had to think about that.
listen, it's true.
It's
That's
true,
what
though.
we were doing.
It's true.
So for the people who have the beautiful opportunity in this life to be single, now what you have to do as you develop, Quest says this all the time. He uses this word all the time about development. As you're developing, you need to also be asking the farmer, which we figured out who that is in this equation, to pair me with someone who has the same direction.
Yeah, but we're not interested. But Ollie, we're not really interested
I
in
ain't
what the
getting
farmer
with
wants.
nobody till I see that nigga no way. Sonny, I need that.
Okay, I was waiting for it. But let me say this. Let me say this.
Hey, let me holler at you real quick before you talk about you talking a shot. Let me holler at you real quick.
One thing I can say, right? I've had the distinct honor and pleasure of having God protect me in relationships.
Praise God.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Wow.
I've had and I joke about my ex and say all the things, but what I will say is when I sincerely said, God, if this is for me, let me know. Because I think a lot of times we desire to be yoked so bad. We will start to try to help him build the yoke. Like let me help the farmer build the yoke.
Wow.
The farmer don't know what I need. So let me help him, right? And it wasn't until I said, God, if this is for me, let me know. And if it's not for me, let me know. And when he did it, right, I had a choice. I had a choice. I could have said, no, I'm going to make this yoke fit. But what I understood is if I make the yoke fit, I am choking life out of myself. It's not even about us choking each other. Right? I'm choking life out of myself. And so what's hard, right, is when you've been unequally yoked, because even unequally yoked means I'm still yoked to something. To be by yourself again and carry all of that weight by yourself is what's scary. And what a lot of people struggle with, and myself included, when I was, especially that first 30 days, was now does the farmer even care about me? Like where is the farmer? I'm literally out here by myself.
He in the Dell.
You know,
let me say this. Sometimes,
You know, I just got it.
I hear you.
I just got it.
I hear you.
The thing is, we leave as a single person. I left the farmer myself.
Yeah.
The farmer was where he was supposed to be. I had to go back, and I had to say, okay, I made some choices. I made some decisions that have led me to where I am now weaker because of what I was tied to.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to move before you told me it was time to move.
Love it.
let me say this.
Go ahead, Terry.
But a lot of times the farmer shows up in the very beginning. But because we want to be, people always say, what God put together, let no man put asunder. Who said God put y'all together?
Watch your mouth.
Who said he put you together?
Watch your
The
mouth.
first thing, well, God bought me this man. Did he? Did he know? He like, don't blame that on me. I was showing you so and so, but you wanted this, so I let you. You know what I'm saying? I let you do your own thing. That ain't what I had for you. But because you wanted this, I allowed you to go ahead and do that. So it's not all the time that we get in it and try. He's like trying to prevent you from the beginning. This ain't what you want. Trust and believe. This ain't what you want. But because it comes in this beautiful box and it's all, you know, what's that saying? It's like putting lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. It's still a pig.
Hey, Terry, can I give you the other side of that?
The other part of that is, though, it is hard to hear from God if you already know what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Like I can go back to when
that sounds like confirmation bias.
Well, the thing is, I remember praying when I first started, and I was like, Lord, if this is for me, let me know. Every time I prayed about that situation, God said, be still. I said, oh, that means be still and be with this person. Girl, shut up.
Girl, shut up. Girl, shut up.
But because of how I was filtering God's voice, I already had in my head what the end result was supposed to be. So God could have said run. I would have said, oh, that means run to him.
Shut up. Yeah, I got it.
Hey, wait, before you go, Paul, there's
no. I'm going to you, Mina, and then Ali, I'm going to go back to you. Go ahead. And I want to say this, Sade, thanks for being as transparent as you are in that situation. Keep your lipstick on. Go ahead.
So Lisa has a question on the floor. And the question says, I don't think I understand how this applies to the individual and organized religion. At its core, is Christianity a yoke? So I just wanted to take a stab at that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
No. Take a stab at it.
I think yes, but it's a different kind of yoke.
Okay.
And for the Bible scholars out there, which I'm not one, and I put it out there, is in Matthew's where it says, take my yoke upon me and learn of me, right? For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. I believe that's Matthew somewhere.
Yep.
That word yoke means to be joined to come under instruction, to walk in rhythm with. So in this sense, Christianity, when I see that, to me is a yoke, but it's not bondage, right? It's almost an invitation for me to walk beside Jesus, not to be crushed by him. It's an act of alignment, not oppression. So when Jesus offers us his yoke, what is he offering us? Relationship, not rules. Rest, not religion, exhaustion. Grace, not guilt. Co-laboring and not controlling. So yes, Christianity is a yoke, but only in the sense, though,
where Christ is the yoke.
Yeah.
Let me share this with you, and then Ali, I want you to just share something with us what you were going through. We got to land a plane because first of all, if you looked up here, we are live on the Bridge Unscripted. Okay, that's where we are. We're live, right? And they don't want us going more than a certain amount of time. Okay, that's what YouTube is saying. Okay. So what I wanted to share with you, first of all, is something that's really important to that text. In that text, it says, "Come unto me, all that are tired of the BS."
You got it.
Oh,
okay?
That's what it said.
Okay. I just want you to understand.
Or you that labor. Yeah.
Right. But remember now, and because remember now, they're laboring.
Right.
When you're in a relationship with Christ, he's laboring, not you.
Yeah. What's the scripture? Can you give that though?
It's Matthew. I can find it. 11. It's in 11. Matthew 11:28, around there. Right. Okay. But one of the things that we've got to understand is when someone's working in a relationship and someone else is not working in a relationship. That is when, and I want the person that says Lisa to recognize that Christianity becomes a yoke when you're trying to work with Christ, and you got to let him do what he's doing. I know it sounds like semantics, but that's when Christianity, he's saying, "Come unto me, all ye that are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And so what we find in Christianity is what Oliver was talking about. Christianity is not heavy. What's heavy is those who have taken Christianity
My God.
and making it difficult. What I'm understanding, and I want to share this, we'll just have to do it relationships. What I'm understanding is my relationship gets heavy with Wendy when we are not working together. My relationship with Wendy gets, I'm going to say this, gets burdensome when she has an idea of something and I have an idea of something, but we have not come together to talk about the idea. It's the same thing with religion, because remember, that's not how we were starting off. I mean, I had my, we're talking about, but it starts off with, hey, we need to be very careful of how we are unequally yoked with the church, with Christ, and the whole nine. Because now I'm finding out that if you are in a relationship, Lisa, listen closely, if you're in a relationship where one person is doing all the work, it is not a Christ-like relationship. If you're in a relationship, Christ is doing the work and you both are aligned with Christ. So the mistake that Paul Graham has made, many of us have made, we look good, we dated long enough, we're getting married.
Shut your mouth.
I'm a pastor. Stay with me now. I'm a pastor.
Shut up.
I'm supposed to be married by a certain amount of time. I got to be with the one that I'm with. I got to marry the one that I'm with. Oh, you understand where I'm coming from? I'm not giving you all that like that's my story. But many of our stories is that I'm 30.
Yeah.
Many of our stories is that I got a great job. He has a great job. Many of us, I want a child. My biological clock is ticking. These are the things that is causing so many people to make decisions that are not yoked with Christ. And then when we get into these relationships, we find out that this ain't fun. Let me give you one example, and I'm going to take it to the church side. People kept calling me. My phone was going off all week long after Friday to ask me what did I think about the new president of General Conference. The thing for me is I didn't know the last one. I didn't have a relationship with the last one. And the policy that president and whatnot made, it didn't hurt me on the local level. It didn't do anything for me. So everyone's asking me what I think about it. What I'm thinking about is, from my local conference, can I get a budget for evangelism? Do you understand where I'm coming from? I mean, who's going to feed who? So a lot of my colleagues are worried about what's going on at top. And whatever's going on top, it doesn't lessen your paycheck. It doesn't stop you from doing this, that, and the other. And I think a lot of us in relationship to the church, we're in relationships to the church based on what's going on up here instead of what's going on right here.
That's because it hasn't hurt you right now. But there are consequences to all actions. And collateral damage can take place in generations later for what you do now.
I believe that.
Although it may not hurt you today,
right?
It has a great potential to do great harm later.
So Leah, this is where I'm coming from, and I agree with you 100%. If I can do it over again, right? And I'm safe to say this.
You would have started your own ministry, right?
No, I'm talking about marriage now, bro. I'm talking about marriage.
My bad. I thought we was
okay. Yeah.
Get out of Baltimore. Get out of Baltimore.
Y'all trying to get me fired.
My bad.
If I can do it all over again.
No, we're trying to get you freed.
Yes.
It's perspective.
Eat about old shit. Now let me stop. You really about to get fired now.
Look,
I would have won.
Let go of the yoke. No.
So maybe for others who are planning on getting married or who would like to get married.
You sound like a Star Wars character.
You do. I would want to know what the farmer was thinking. I want to share this with y'all, and I'm being very vulnerable. If I could do it over again, I'm not saying I probably would not have been with the same person, but I would not have been with this person quickly based on what the organization wanted me to do. Oh, you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Understood.
I wasn't hearing from the farmer.
Mm.
Okay, I was really hearing from
Fear.
it's time. Right,
The
it's
slave
time.
drivers.
I was hearing from the slave drivers. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I think so many of us in the clergy, so many of us in our different walks of life, we do things based on what the extremities is saying and what they want us to do. And that's a lot of where the mistakes have been made. And I just want to say that, Oliver, what hit me today was that farmer.
Yeah.
You know, if me and Sade are talking and she says something about, man, I just met someone, I'm going to ask her, what did the farmer think? What's the farmer thinking? What did the farmer say?
Right.
Can I say this though?
But did you not hear Sade when she said she heard from the farmer, but what she wanted, right, twisted the farmer's words into what she desired.
Right.
Because at the core, I'll say this again, at the core, there is a belief that you hold about yourself, right? Whether it be 30, whether it be biological time clock, whether it be whatever. There is a core belief that is driving you that will allow you to actually not hear the farmer clearly.
I got you.
So even if you did it again and the farmer said whatever, I bet you, as Terry said, the farmer told you something in the beginning.
Listen, the farmer better hook me up with a nice cow. That's all I'm saying.
Let me say this. One thing I will say that is different, and it's funny how quick God can work, right? It wasn't until I was okay never being yoked that I could actually hear from the farmer.
You better stop it.
It wasn't okay till I was in a position where I was like, okay, God, if I never get to experience marriage, right? If I never get to experience this thing, I'm okay. Because then the farmer could say, whatever I give to you is what you will get.
Wow.
Right?
I got you.
I could accept without my own interpretation of what it has to be, what it has to look like, what it has to feel like, to say, okay, whatever the farmer blesses me with, whether it's me plowing by myself or if he yokes me up with someone else, I'm okay.
Yeah,
it's not good for man to be alone.
Well, that's why there's the rose. So
can I say this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say this real quick. Let me say something.
I don't think Denise is hearing me. You know what I mean? I don't think Denise is hearing me well at all.
I didn't hear what
she might not have heard you because I'm trying to say what I'm gonna say real quick so I can run upstairs and catch her when she's coming in the bedroom before she so let me say something.
I like
real
how
quick.
you move.
To the people who are married, let me just say something to the married folk. There's a verse in Psalms 139, I think it is. It says, "Search me, O Lord, and know my ways." This is for the married folk. You need to take a moment and do that. Let me tell you why. Because we've talked about the yoke from one perspective. But the yoke is also a restraint that the farmer uses to ensure that two animals work together.
Wow.
So if we go from our experience started off bad. Let's just leave it at that. Somebody asked her recently in a retreat that we did. When I told our story, they asked her, why did she stay? And she said, what did you say?
I said, I felt like God was just like, don't worry, I got this. Don't do anything yet.
In other words, he was your yoke.
He was my yoke.
Wow.
The reason
he was my yoke. He was my restraint.
That's right.
That's what you mean by restraint. He was like,
So,
don't go anywhere.
Exactly. So when we're trying to do this in year 1 and year 2, a yoke was put on us so that we would get right.
Align. So you align.
I tell people all the time.
Yes.
She is the person that God used to save my life.
Tighten up yourself.
So there's one side of this yoke thing, but there is another side as well. And that's why I'm saying to the married folk who may feel like, man, something ain't right, I don't think it's going. I'm not saying that you should stay or go. That's not what this is about.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that you should do what it says in Psalm 139. Go to the farmer, and have the farmer help you determine whether this is something that's supposed to grow you and bring you into alignment, or this is something else.
Sometimes Christ ain't the yoke. Sometimes sex is the yoke.
Hey, listen, family. I know that Terry.
Speaking of that, Quest, you can leave now. Go get ready. I'll be up in a second.
She's there to give you restraint.
Yeah, she's there to give restraint.
That's see, Leah. You see what I'm saying? That's why she's here.
To your point, Ali,
lay priestly hands.
Ali, to your point, before I have said on this show, in some situations, marriage will be the thing that saves us.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I've said it before. I believe there's some people, there's some like it will be the thing that humbles us enough to say, you know what, I got to do it God's way. And what I will say to single people out there, you're not yoked. You if it ain't what it's supposed to be, you can leave. You're not yoked. You may be walking along beside each other, but you're not yoked if you're not married.
Got you. Hey, listen, family, we're really out of time, but I got to go around the clock on this one. Out of everything that you've heard tonight, oh my goodness, Jason, why are you just coming on, Jay? Why are you just coming on? With everything that you heard.
Wait, before we go,
Shut up, Dre.
Our girl Leah's gonna have a birthday in a couple of days.
Oh my gracious!
Mine was
Let's
yesterday.
celebrate her.
Happy
Mine was
birthday.
yesterday.
Who club we hitting up?
I turned 39 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Is that a fact? Did you?
Yeah, yesterday was my birthday.
I didn't even know that.
Hey, we got a dance party coming.
Let's go.
Hey,
I'm not paying.
You're not paying.
I'm not paying.
oh yeah, wait. It's before 9 o'clock. It's after 9.
Not paying.
So I gotta pay.
What is that?
It's some old junk I found on here.
Yo, you look like Isaac Hayes.
Wow. Oh,
You
Wait,
finna get
was
fired.
that?
You about to lose your job. You about to lose
So
your
right around the clock. If there's a sentence that y'all can give tonight, a sentence that anything that you learned tonight, or what you learned tonight, or anything that you want to give tonight concerning being unequally yoked, anything at all. Ali, I want to start with you and Denise so I can get y'all out of here.
Go ahead, babe.
I love what Armina said. It, even though I knew the scripture, come unto me, all you who are
Heavy.
are heavy laden or whatever, and I will give you rest. Just to hear you say that again, that Christ's yoke is not a burden, and that it shouldn't be heavy, and that, all of that which you said, that really touched me. I don't know why, because I've heard it a million times. But for some reason tonight, I was like, yes, this Jesus thing is not supposed to be difficult at all. It's not supposed to be difficult. None of it is supposed to be difficult.
My Jesus.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ali and Denise. Thanks for coming on. I can't wait. What are y'all doing next? What is your next gig? Or
Well, we're trying to figure out when we're going to do another Have a Conversation After Dark. The next thing on the plate is West Philadelphia's marriage retreat in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we'll stay tuned. We're going to do
when
another
is the
Have
date
a
of that?
Conversation After Dark. That's August 1st, 1 to 3.
August 1st.
First weekend in August.
The first weekend in August.
Yeah.
What's the actual date?
August 1st to 3rd, right?
Yeah.
it's a weekend.
We're in Jersey.
I'll text you. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Because I think I'll be up there. If I'm up there, I'm coming through.
All right, cool. I'll text you. Absolutely.
And if
Let's all go through.
because you're in Delaware and you're close.
Make it.
That would be dope.
But wish you the best.
Wish you the best. All right, guys. Y'all take care.
All right, family. Good to see y'all.
All right.
You guys.
Yeah.
Man, he was doing all kind of crazy
Quest,
knowledge.
what are we doing, Quest?
That's that invisible.
What was that? What was that?
The invisible that you throw up. You passed it over to him clearly.
You passed it to me.
Oh, I see. Wait,
taking that gas. Just
First, I gotta say thank you to all my peoples from the D. Like they've been coming through all night.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Love it.
Is that like is that Mary Judy Bass?
Mary Judy, that is my girl. I love her absolutely. Teresa cried. Josh McAllister and just said happy birthday. Like these my peoples from.
I got you.
Mina said, "What are we doing right now? What's going on right now?"
What I did?
Look at you. Get the eyes going. All right, Sade, your turn, girl. Your turn. What's your wisdom thought tonight that you got or giving?
Old habits die hard. No,
what I will give is that Jesus did not go to Calvary for you to settle.
Come on.
Wow.
My God.
Dang, you took it there. You took it there.
In every area of life, he did not go to Calvary for us to settle.
Yeah.
And so to wait on him for direction in everything, I feel is just so much more impactful. It's like I said, choosing and being led are two totally different things.
Watch your mouth.
And being led by God, especially in this season, has been the most rewarding because I know for a fact that what he's calling me to is what he's designed me for. And so just Jesus did not go to Calvary. There are no holes in his hands and in his feet for us to settle.
Wow. On that note, right? Because you're getting a lot of amens in that part. Bye. Yeah.
Take two and pass, P.
No,
you're gonna get phone calls in the morning.
No. I'm gonna be fighting Mina afterwards. All right, go ahead. Mina, go ahead. What's your
If I could sum it up in one sentence, it would be the goal of all relationships, whether if it's on the organizational level or intimate level, is not perfection.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's awareness and alignment.
That part.
Awareness and alignment.
Mm-hmm.
I got you, girl. Bye, girl. We'll see you in the green room.
Mm-hmm.
What up, though?
What up, though?
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, Leah.
Since I'm the hood therapist,
you know what I'm saying?
That's what my friend from England says. That's the hood girl. That's the hood girl right there.
I love it. So,
oh, Pee Wee, what's up, boy? All
I
right.
know.
Yeah.
We miss you, Pee Wee.
We missed you tonight. My bad, Pee Wee. My bad.
Which way now? What's up?
I'm waiting on you, girl. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
Sentence takeaway.
The yoke starts with your mind first.
Jesus.
Starts with your thoughts first. And if you are avoiding what your mind is telling you, you definitely are going to avoid everything else that you see. You'll wind up in a spot that you sit over here talking about, can I regain, right? An equal situation. And the answer most times is once something has burdened you so deeply, it is very hard to recover. I remember, and I'm gonna get on off here because I know we ended in
talk.
But Lonnie used to be like, I am not gonna be in a situation where I gotta apologize for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Right? Because there are some that will remain in spaces after the unthinkable has occurred, and that one person will beat them down for the duration of their lives. And say you're supposed to like it, and that other person will receive it because they believe that the guilt that they carry is the burden that they have to live with for the duration of their life.
Watch out, Leah.
Absolutely not.
You saw what your girl Janelle just said?
Well,
You know what they're saying?
yeah.
I didn't know you were so deep. I've been missing out. Ain't that your what
That's
you know,
Lonnie's line sister.
that sister? That's
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah,
right.
she's a sapphire.
You know, good people, man. I haven't seen her in I don't know when. I
Yeah.
haven't seen her. Look at me to put it right back up there. Leah Chapman.
I love you. I love
Listen,
you.
we'll see you in the green room. We'll see you in the green room. What is up with these young ladies tonight, bro?
Bro. This was definitely heavy conversation from a principle standpoint, because it fits all the areas, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, if Jesus ain't the word, ain't gonna be your yoke. Don't let nothing else be it.
Yeah, you know what mine is, man?
What?
That whole farmer joint. I'm gonna go upstairs with a pitchfork right now. I'm gonna go upstairs with a pitchfork and try to find some hay in the back. Put a little cowboy hat on with
little boots.
Like,
and two
you remember that? You know, did we hear from the farmer?
Flap. Get the fan. Get the fan. We gonna rodeo up in this.
Where them fans at? Yo, man, let me tell you something, man. I always get a word.
Yeah, man.
I always get a word, man. I always get a word.
Yeah.
And I loved it tonight, man.
Yeah, bro.
I know this is not self-serving in a sense, but this is like one of our highest numbers tonight, man.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm looking at the numbers and this is exciting. And for those who would like to go back and watch, you can always go back at our YouTube page, which is the Unscripted, the Bridge, the Unscripted, and live, the Bridge, Unscripted live.
Yep.
And just go ahead and share it with others. And it's almost time for us to be in your town soon. It's almost time for us to be in your town soon. We're gonna do this again real soon. And looking forward to spending some time with my friends, with these great minds. Anyway, be blessed, everyone. Be blessed. And we'll see you next week.